It has been 18 years since the Rage virus first infected the screen. But does 28 years later still deliver that same raw terror, or has the apocalypse run dry? 28 years later, with No Contention being the best film in the franchise, really hammers down on the suspense, the action, the emotion, and more importantly, humanity and death. Now, it goes without saying, 28 years later is unlike its other counterparts. This one taking the narrative route and trading the cheap thrills for something more insightful. Being more reflective, unsettling, deliberate, and strange. Weird balance between chaos and stillness is unsettling, but actually gets the point across. The way the humans were portrayed, as well as the zombies were portrayed, were one and the same. The zombies evolving over time, but still having some shred of humanity to justify it. That specifically being the alphas. And the humans giving us what life is like after the fact. Understanding that this is just the way of life and this is how things are. Danny Boyle perfectly captures that with his directing. From an acting standpoint, Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, it's grounded to all hell. As a matter of fact, the most grounded film out of all of them that exist. Some of the most memorable acting in this film coming from Jodie Comer, as well as Ralph Fiennes. Jodie Comer's character being diagnosed with cancer, and her herself knowing that that's the case, but the audience not until the very end. And Ralph Fiennes' character, who understands the zombies, being a doctor on the mainland, basically kind of being stranded. Jodie Comer's character being on screen damn near the entire time of the film, while Ralph Fiennes' character was towards the very end. Regardless, both of them really had an impactful part in this film. The whole Memento Mori scene, everything related to that, the way that that was portrayed by this man, Oscar-winning performance. Just know that when he's on screen, oh my god, it deserves some sort of award. And Jodie Comer's character trying to understand herself and her past while also coming to terms with the fact that she has cancer. That too was done beautifully and was an Oscar-winning performance. Now, the best part about Ralph Fiennes' character was the Memento Mori aspect. That was more or less the premise in the third act, and gets the point across when Jodie Comer's character ends up getting offed by Ralph Fiennes' character because she was dying. There was no malicious intent, it was just something that needed to be done. The score behind it, the cinematography, the emotions, all of it was just so beautiful. That specific part screamed everything about the 28 series and then some. And that was probably the most memorable part of this film. And I know I'm glazing hard, but it was just so beautifully well crafted. As for the tension in this film, it was still at an all-time high. Still gave us that exact same feel that you get from the other 28 movies, just kind of dumbed down a little bit. Mainly shown through the cinematography, and when the kills happen, still gives us that 28 feel. Kind of like a kill cam that you would get within Black Ops. A nice little touch to it that I didn't expect I needed. And while there were very few, I think when it was on screen, it was really worth it. And with the cinematography in mind, there are some instances where no words are needed to be said and you can just understand it through the camera. One of those instances being right here as they walk into Ralph Fiennes' area where he has the giant tower of skulls. Understanding the Memento Mori aspect that I mentioned earlier, that there's more to death than what we just know. There are both positives and negatives to it. And the same exact thing could be applied to the zombies. And while they're not technically dead, this is honestly a worse fate than death. Holding on to what little humanity they have, but still being unable to control it. Which brings in the alphas who are smarter than the runners and kind of understand what's going on, at least to an extent. The zombies are still very much chaotic as they were in the other films. Evolving so much so that they're, as I said, smarter than we think. And some of them having the ability to have children, which I will elaborate on later on because that doesn't really make sense. Now, while this film really pushed the narrative and tried to keep it as grounded as possible, there are some things in this film that really didn't work. Some of it being the narrative. Like, what do you mean the rest of the world is fine, able to have smartphones, travel and do whatever, but England and the entire mainland just isn't okay? You're telling me they couldn't just carpet bomb the entire place and get rid of it altogether? Everyone who's stuck there can't be saved at all? Something about that just doesn't add up. We find that out by some dude named Eric. He was a part of the Navy for the Swiss. They crash land here and all of his team got picked off one by one by the Rage virus. He then finds the main characters and then they just start talking about the world outside. But he barely gives us anything. Although I will say the dialogue between him, Jodie Comer, and the kid were pretty funny. I know a dick when I see one. That was probably the most realist line in that entire film. Even with that, there's not enough to justify it. Another instance is Aaron Taylor Johnson's character cheating on Jodie Comer as they are a couple, and that just prompts both of the kid and Jodie Comer to go to the main island to get help. Why was that the reason that happened? I don't know. You could have done this a lot sooner. Maybe that was the breaking point. I don't know. But both of them knew that she had some sort of issue happening with her, so I don't know why it didn't happen sooner. And lastly, from what I remember, the infected being able to have children. Now, that may not be the case in terms of this because she may have just gotten infected while she was pregnant, but the baby was not infected at all. I don't know how that works exactly because it looked like she had been infected for quite some time. Unless the infected are able to reproduce and do that kind of stuff, that really doesn't make sense. Overall, this film came together in a better way than I thought it was going to. And the ending of this film, low-key kind of underwhelming. I was expecting to see Cillian Murphy in some way, shape, or form, but we end up seeing the main guy we saw at the beginning of the film with a whole crew just managing to take out different zombies. And the kid who decided to stay behind on the main island while everyone else is doing their own thing on the other island is joining them, which then leads to another film that's going to happen, which I'm interested in, but I don't know where they're going to go from there. It's like a brand new set of individuals that we're following, but we're going to bring in other individuals that we've seen in the other films into this one somehow. That much I know is confirmed. It definitely has promise. I'm just expecting to see a lot more. Overall, I recommend you see this film. I rated it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a good film, but it's definitely not the best. It has its moments and the moments are worth it. I can't wait to see where this franchise goes next.